Face in the Crowd was released in 1957 and was directed by Elia Kazan. The movie follows Larry or Lonesome Rhodes' rise to fame as a media star after he is discovered in a rundown jail by Marsha Jeffries, a radio journalist. Lonesome Rhodes is played by Andy Griffith, and this movie was released a handful of years before the Andy Griffith Show. This was actually the very first on-screen appearance that Andy Griffith has ever made in any type of form. So it's his first ever role, which is kind of cool. Now, I can't say that I'm overly familiar with Andy Griffith as a whole. I know I watched a handful of episodes from his show when I was a lot younger, and then I know about the influence that he's had on television, but that's more or less it with my experience with Griffith. But Andy Griffith does an amazing job here. Lonesome Rhodes is supposed to be a very big personality in the movie. He's charming, he's a great speaker, he defies authority, and he has the ability to be very personable and friendly to people. But of course, as his popularity grows, the more realistic, the true parts of his personality slowly start to creep through. And Andy Griffith does an incredible job showing an egotistical radio personality with some shittier sides. However, the best performance of this movie has to go to Patricia Neal as Marsha Jeffries. Patricia brings a real warmth and maturity to a much quieter character that anchors Andy Griffith's huge performance. And the dichotomy of these two characters' real personalities makes for one of the most interesting dynamics I've seen for two leads in a movie of this genre. And the main reason I wanted to see this movie is because it's regarded as one of the best social satires as far as movies go. It is very commonly compared to and regarded as a great companion piece with 1976's The Network. And you can very easily draw some similarities between Peter Finch's character from Network and Lonesome Rhodes in this movie. And while not every bit of this movie ages very well, a lot of it was really ahead of its time for its release especially, and is still relevant to today. Now, Elia Kazan once again proves himself to be one of the most underappreciated directors of his generation. Once again, knocking it out of the park. While the theme of the movie is fairly obvious, it is executed so well that the entire ride is entertaining. The rise of Lonesome Rhodes into media influence is understandable. He comes across as a likable everyday man, or underdog. People love to listen to him because he is honest and relatable, or just saying what he knows they want to hear. Once he starts to get people's attention, corporations want him to represent them to share the popularity. He slowly discovers that he has influence over his audience, and as that desire for power grows, the more obvious the corruption becomes. So much to the point that even Marsha's faith in him begins to waver. This is a very well written movie. The relationship between Marsha and Lonesome especially is the best part, because you become very invested as in these two as characters and possibly in having a relationship with each other, but you slowly see Marsha kind of figure out what type of person Lonesome really is, and you feel those same emotions of kind of betrayal and shock throughout the movie. The movie is also really well edited. There's one sequence in particular that I thought was done really, really well. It was funny, but I thought it was pretty impressive for its time especially. This movie is a really compelling character study and one of the best social commentaries of that era, to the point that it almost feels like it's prophetic in a way, where we look at today and the amount of influence that is given to social or political commentators and social media presences and stuff like that. It's pretty on the nose nearly 65 years before. Now, all around, this is a great movie. It truly does feel different from a lot of the major productions that Hollywood made in the 50s, and I highly, highly recommend this movie. I think that everybody should see it at some point. I'm going to be rating A Face in the Crowd a 9.5 out of 10. Now, have you guys seen A Face in the Crowd? Let me know, and I'll be back with another video.